How's it going, everyone? Welcome back. Hope everyone's having a lovely day. Elly De La Cruz, without question, one of the most exciting, one of the most electrifying players to suit up in a Cincinnati Reds uniform in quite some time. De La Cruz enters the scene last season as a 21-year-old in the month of June after he was just tearing it up in minor league ball for was the month of May there. It's just like it felt like he had to come up. He did come up. He continued that hot streak, continued that electricity entering the league. And then we've seen him kind of dissipate slowly throughout the season as teams figured him out, pitchers started to figure him out. And then last couple weeks of the season again, started to find his groove a little bit there once more. I was getting on base dang near a 400 clip there last couple weeks of the season. And improved. I had 301 on base percentage in the month of September, October there, compared to what was, again, a struggle where he's batting 200 for those 2 months a little bit. But we talk about Elly De La Cruz and say, hey, now what? Nonetheless, there's no question about it. The energy, the excitement, the positivity, the charisma, the confidence boost that he brought to this clubhouse and to this team, and his ability to perform on the field, the way it didn't just improve this baseball team, but it brought other teams a lot of anxiousness, brought him a lot of nerves, no question about it, because when he was on the base pads, teams were making mistakes. The Reds' aggressiveness in general was causing teams to make mistakes, but none more than Elly De La Cruz. Elly De La Cruz's ability to not steal first or not steal second, not steal third, but also steal home. In Reds wins last season that Elly De La Cruz played in, he was batting 307 with a 374 on base percentage. In games Elly De La Cruz appeared in and the Reds lost, he batted 149 with an on-base percentage right around 200. No question about it. Huge difference. Huge difference. And again, that was just the game. He was a game wrecker. We talk about it in football, but Elly was a game wrecker in baseball because he got on the base pads and dangerous things could happen. He made contact, dangerous things could happen. Even in the field, a very, very good fielder, one of the strongest arms in baseball. And we would expect him to, again, just continue to grow and improve in those areas as well as he gets older. And I think that is the number one thing that we have to consider entering this next season. And I kind of said it last year, right before they even called him up. The first thing I said was, hey, we got to be careful. He's 21. There's a lot of hype around this guy. No question about it. When you're tearing it up in the minors, you go on a hot streak, you have to call them up. You feel the pressure to call them up. The fans wanted it. Everybody was saying, where's Elly at? Where's Elly at? It felt like, you never know in an organization, but it almost felt like the pressure was there. They had to call him up. And they did. The thing you worry about, though, when a guy's only 21 years old, is a lot of these guys, they need a lot of time to grow, to develop, to kind of work on their, perfect their craft, if they will. And minor league ball is a great place for that, where you have great coaching, great development, leaders around there where they can work on things. But with a guy like Elly, once he's up here, he's up here. You're not turning back a guy like, not when you're a top prospect like that. The chances of sending him back down to work on things very, very slim. And that's where you worry about things, because now you're going to go through those growing pains in the majors, and you worry about how that affects his swing, his confidence, all of that going forward. And again, we kind of seen, some negative aspects of this man's swing throughout the season, to see the very least. Elly was striking out 33.7% of his plate appearances. That was in the 3 percentile amongst all major leaguers, which meant 97% of hitters in the league were striking out less than Elly De La Cruz. He struck out 140 plus times. Had he played all 160 games, the guy was on pace to strike out for dang near 250 times. And that's a lot. That is a lot. To say the very least. And that is his biggest concern. Is we know, just like the Billy Hamilton, the Drew Stubbs, like, this man just needs to make contact. Because he's got the athleticism, he's got the gifted abilities, he's got just to make a team not just get on base with the speed, but make a team nervous, to make them make mistakes. All he has to do is make contact. And that is such a big thing where you thought, the more he could have possibly grown and improved in minors, we'll see. But now the big thing is with the offseason, where once again, the offseason gives you a lot of chances to work on the mechanics, work on a lot of things. Maybe you don't have time to do in the regular season, and to become a better, more improved player this season, which I think Elly is more than capable of doing, and I think we'll see him do. There's a couple things you look for out of Elly in this offseason you would expect. One of them being, we knew last season he drove the baseball. He got on top of the baseball a lot. He got on top of the baseball 44% of his swings this past season, where he made contact, which is well above league average. And again, if you're Elly with that swing speed and that ability to hit the home runs playing Great American Ballpark, you want him to get a little bit under the baseball if he's at the very least if he's flying with that exit velocity and ability, the power he has. You want him getting under the baseball as much as possible at Great American Ballpark. So he gets under that baseball more often. He gets on top of it. He got under the baseball 44% of the time. He's probably hitting 45 home runs in a season easily. But again, that's something that can be worked on. The swing angle, the trajectory, can't even speak today. The trajectory that he's coming at the baseball with. And I almost wonder, and I'm not, obviously not a batting coach. What do I know? I'm just a couch GM like the rest of us. I wonder what would happen if you went to this offseason and during spring training, they kind of worked on saying, hey, let's try to slow the bat speed down a little bit, which is a dangerous path to go down because that's such a big part of his game. But at the same time, maybe he's going as a young stud. It's kind of like a young pitcher, like imagine a Aroldis Chapman. It might be a good example here, really. I remember Aroldis Chapman when he first came into the league, he was throwing 105, 104, 106, and he just said, hey, listen, you got the overpowering stuff. You don't have to throw the absolute hardest every single pitch. Take a little bit off of it, and you're nasty. You still have the nasty slider. You still have an overpowering fastball. You still throw it up there 102, 103. That's good enough. That's kind of what you wonder with Elly here. Is he overswinging coming up in the league? If you say just take a little bit off, we're not asking you to take a lot. Just take a little bit off, and hopefully it'll give you a little bit better, opportunity to adjust and do what you got to do at the plate to make better contact. Because right now it just feels like when you look at the numbers and you look at what he did last season, almost as if he's over swinging, which again is going to increase, your strikeout rate, your whiff rate. Just like when a guy goes up there swinging for the fences every time. I don't know why. That reminded me of Brandon Phillips back in the day. When if you watch Brandon Phillips play, you remember Brandon Phillips' home run swing. And if he missed, he was on one knee afterwards. It was great. But I love Brandon Phillips. Love Brandon Phillips as a baseball player. Brought a lot of good memories to the Reds. But just the thought of that, it's kind of one of those things where you overswing. Perfect example, you overswing, you're more likely to swing and miss. So I wonder if something like that would help Elly this season. Because besides that, I expect this guy to get better in the field. He's still going to be an absolute monster on the base pads. It's going to cause a lot of problems. He just needs to make contact more. And again, we see him kind of get better later in the season at taking pitches, drawing walks. A beautiful thing to see. Because at the very end of the day, if you're just swinging and missing a lot, if you're drawing walks, you're still getting on base. You're getting that on-base percentage to creep up. And I think overall, if you're the Reds, if you're a fan, I think you want to see this guy bat first, second in the order. I think that's where, ideally you probably put him second. Think about the Mike Trout era where he started doing a second, but ideally you put him second so you get somebody in front of him. But yes, well, you want this guy at the top of the order as high as possible because you want him on the base pads wreaking havoc. Because the second he's on the base pads, again, opposing teams struggle. They get nervous. They make mistakes. And that just helps out the McLeans, the Martes, the CESs of the world batting behind him. And I look at it and I think we're going to see again, from that perspective, I think his vision's going to get better. I think his discipline's going to get better. And we're going to see him get on base a little bit more. I think we're going to see him take a step up this season. I do. I think the offseason is going to be a good learning experience for him. And he's just too talented of a player. We're saying, last season he batted in the mid-230s. We're saying he's going to jump that batting average up to 251 this season. We're going to give him about a 341 on base percentage, 107 runs, again, higher in the order, 29 home runs, and 71 RBIs on the season. Nonetheless, hey, this guy, we're probably projecting low. If he reaches his full abilities this season, which again, I think that's the thing. We're kind of saying, hey, we're going to give him a year or two of growth still. But if he were to reach his full abilities this season, he'll blow those numbers out of the water. But we'll see. Love y'all's thoughts. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.